All right, so we have 12 people. So I guess we're already like, I don't know, more than 10 minutes in to the start of the stream here. So if you're new to my channel, I am Readiness Reviews. I have just recently hit 1,000 subscribers, and in honor of doing that, I decided I would hold a live stream just so the people that actually watch my channel can get to know me a little better. We are, of course, doing a giveaway later on in this video. In order to get in that giveaway, you had to submit a question to me in an AMA on a previous video. And I have all of those entries right here. There were 61 entries. Dennis, was that you? It was. Yeah, you didn't have to send me a super chat, dude. Thank you so much, Dennis, but you really didn't have to do that. People, you don't have to send me money. I feel bad. I feel bad when someone sends me a ration, let alone sending me money. I truly do appreciate that, buddy. Thank you so much. So those questions were entered. Like I said, there was 61 entries. From those 61 entries, I picked about 40 questions. I seriously doubt I'm going to get through all these, but I think we'll go ahead and start working our way through some of them, and then I will set aside some time at the end of the video to just chat with you guys, the people that are coming in later in the stream. I don't think Miss Marilyn is in the chat yet, but the first question that I have is going to be from Miss Marilyn, rather. Marilyn Skull asked, how many guns do you have? So I have absolutely no clue. If I actually wanted to think about it and go through it, I could count them all out. I'd probably forget something, but I could do that. Off the top of my head, though, I know it's more than 40. It's definitely less than 100. It's probably not that much more than 40, but it's more than 40 for sure. Why are y'all sending me money? Holy crap. Rachel Sunshine, I really appreciate that. She says, get after it, RR. Congrats on 1K. Thank you so very much, Rachel. I really appreciate that. And Smitty feels bad for Dennis, so he gave me $20 Canadian. What's that in USD? Like $5? No, I'm just kidding. I know it's more than that. Thanks, Smitty. I really appreciate that, man. You shouldn't have. You really shouldn't have. $6, CT says? Nah, it's more than that. I know the conversion rate's closer than that. So, Rare Old Meal Times sent me a question. It was one of the best questions I received. If you haven't checked his channel out yet, I have it linked in the description of this stream. You should really check his channel out because he has one of the best ration review channels out there, and he does not have nearly as many subscribers as you should have. He does very comprehensive reviews that are well edited, and he's always checking out something pretty cool, and he's a great guy to boot. CT just did a sit-down video with him where they had pizza and did a little chat. You can check that video out on CT's channel. But definitely give Rare Old Meal Times a look because his channel is great. We'll go ahead and read his question off. What's your general thoughts on the ration review hobby and with how popular it's become? Do you think that it is good for historical preservation to open an old rare ration and document it or leave it intact? So that is a question that I struggle with a lot internally, right? So you have these rations that are in good shape and have already been around for, 50, 60, 70 years. Is it a good idea to bust into them and open them up? Or should they just be kept as their own little time capsule for future generations to maybe open? Or just let it be the history that it is? I'm going to start with that part of the question first. I think that is both, right? So certain rations need to be open in order to be preserved. You have your old leaky sea rations. Same thing with a lot of anything that has old cans in it and stuff like that, those things need to be opened so they don't completely degrade. It'll leak over time, it'll mold, it'll ruin the box it's in. I mean, when's the last time you've seen a Ration Combat individual that didn't look terrible? All the fruit packages, especially like your canned peaches and stuff like that, I mean, those things expand and blow up and they destroy the ration. So I think things that are visibly already in rough shape definitely need to be opened to be conserved. Same thing with all your lifeboat rations and emergency rations. Like if the can is all screwed up looking, it's probably a good idea to go ahead and bust it open because it's going to make a better display, not degrading over time, than it is actually taking the time to open it up and properly conserve it. Now, if you have something that's in like perfect condition, is like shiny and beautiful, and it's been preserved 100%, I think those things need to be set on a shelf and not touched unless there's no documentation of them. So if it's something that's already been documented in a video format or really good picture format at some point in the past, it's probably better not to touch it. If there's no documentation, it needs to be documented. So you'll need to open it and show the world what's inside those because people really want to know. As far as my thoughts on the ration review hobby in general, I think it's awesome. Like, I would have never thought there would have been such a large community of people that are into military rations. I thought I was the only one weird enough to like that kind of thing. I mean, no one else in my normal everyday life has ever been particularly interested in military rations other than myself. And I find the whole thing fascinating. I do think that it has driven the price of certain things up that probably shouldn't be that expensive. Brown bag MREs, for sure. I think that they're at least twice as much as they probably should be, especially because the contents just aren't that great, and you have people buying them thinking they're okay to eat, and in most instances, they're not going to kill you to eat, but they're not that palatable, unless you just get lucky and get a good one. But I love the ration review hobby. I mean, it's great. Meeting everybody and being part of the community, I mean, that's part of it. It's super fun, and I just love, increasing my knowledge base and learning more things about rations. It's all great. So thanks, Rare Meal Times, for that awesome question. Look at the chat for a second. Cheese Toast is in here. It says I'm looking like a sports broadcaster because I have the headset on. Yeah, unfortunately, my lapel mic that I film my regular videos with was not working, so I had to revert to my gaming headset. But I guess it's working out okay. I have a viewer named Tibbles, and they asked, what is your grail gun / guns? So your grail gun, that's your holy grail, like your pinnacle of what you want to add to your collection. And for me, I picked one rifle and one pistol. The Russian SVT-40 is a grail gun. I know they're not like super ultra rare, but as far as what I've seen in my local area, you rarely see one. And one day I would really like to add one to my collection. They shoot the same round as the Mosin Nagant, which I love and have plenty of ammo for. And just something about the lines and the look of that rifle is just so freaking cool to me. And for handguns, it's a Luger. Luger is most definitely my grail gun on handguns. Again, they look awesome. They shoot a readily available round in 9mm, and you can, if you get one that's not this super awesome collector presentation piece, you can shoot the crap out of them and they're okay. So Luger and SVT-40, those are my grail guns for sure. Mr. John Multi-Magnum 62, who is unfortunately at work right now, so he couldn't join us live, asked me a question, and is, what is your favorite ration you have tried so far? And that is going to be this one right here. It's a 24-hour IRP, Russian IRP, that was packaged by a company called Friendship of the Peoples or Friendship of the Nations in the Crimea. That ration was absolutely outstanding. I got it on eBay for I think it was like $33 or $34, and it was literally worth every cent. Awesome ration, some of the best mains I've had to this date in anything. It was great. Old Smoky actually asked me a question. I was a little bit surprised when he took the time to go on my little video and ask me one. I think he is the largest channel to actually ask me a question on this. I really appreciate that, Smoky, if you're seeing this in the replay. So he wanted to know what my favorite episode of Eating History was. If you don't know, Eating History is a show that's literally about eating history. It stars Josh McCouga and Old Smoky from our Ration Review community. Of course, Smoky has a live stream every Saturday night pretty much where everyone gets together and has a good time in the chat, and Smoky's always checking out a cool ration for us. My favorite episode of the show, I don't remember what the title was or what the episode number was, but it was the one where Josh McCouga actually found an old whiskey bottle hidden up in some rafters, and they tasted that. I thought that was really cool. It was like a pre-prohibition whiskey bottle. That was pretty awesome. They made a cookie mix out of this disgusting old boxed cookie. Well, they took the cookie mix and made cookies out of it, and they were completely roasted, it seems like, and they both had numb mouths, and it was really funny and looked really gross. They also opened a container of civil defense crackers. That's one of those items that I don't think people should be opening necessarily because they're not going to degrade. All that's in those is crackers. So there's not really any reason to open them. They're better left unopened so they can be enjoyed by future generations as a piece of history. But they opened that up, and it's always cool to see the inside of those. Those crackers did not hold up, by the way. And they rounded that episode out by eating some canned grasshoppers that were extremely old. And well, they didn't actually eat the grasshoppers, I don't think. They were not edible once they opened them. But there was something in that episode for everybody. You had booze, you had bugs, you had old confections, and some military type thing as well. So I think that was a really good episode. I have another question here from another YouTuber. It's the Blind Sniper. The Blind Sniper's channel is actually linked in the description as well if you want to check him out. He is primarily a gun channel, but he actually did some ration reviews too, which is kind of odd because I thought I was the only channel that's like literally a gun and ration channel. I know that we have some awesome guys in the community like Smitty who likes guns and has had them featured on his channel before, but he's not really a gun channel. I sort of am. And Blind Sniper hasn't done quite as much ration stuff as I have, but he does have some ration videos, and they're pretty funny. He asked, what was my first gun? Why is it my favorite? And if not, what is my favorite? The first firearm I purchased with my own money, I was 18 years old, and I bought it from a gun store. It was a Romanian M44 Mosin Nagant carbine, and he wants to know why. Well, at the time, literally all my friends were buying Mosin Nagants. This was when they were being imported in huge numbers, and they were very inexpensive, between about $60 and $100 each. And they were all just your normal long Mosin Nagant rifles. I wanted to be different from everyone else, just like I normally do, and so I wanted something that no one had, and I saw this short Mosin. It's about yay tall, a carbine. And I absolutely had to have it, and that was a little bit more. I think I paid about $120 for it, which is great nowadays because Romanian M44s are going for $400 plus. So that was my very first firearm. Is it my favorite? No, but that's because I can't really pick a favorite. It's like choosing a favorite child. I like them all. I don't have a favorite firearm in my collection. I like all of them equally. Well, maybe not equally, but I do like all of them. TG asked, what is the oldest ration that I've eaten date-wise? And that would be this one right here. Meal Combat Individual Beefsteak with a B3 unit from 1976. I ate the crackers. I tasted the jam. It was missing the accessory pack, unfortunately, so I missed out on the coffee and whatever else was in the accessory pack. It had the beefsteak main, which actually looked really, really good for the age. It was probably edible, but I was too afraid to do it at the time. I don't have health insurance, so if something makes me sick, I'm pretty much screwed because I'm not going to the hospital. And I was a little bit scared of doing that one. However, if I could go back and redo it again, I think I would have thoroughly heated that beefsteak, and I think I would have given it a try. I kind of regret not looking at that one. That might be my only opportunity for the rest of my life to try out MCI beefsteak and it not kill you. But that's the oldest one I've had so far. Viper GTS is in the house. What's up, buddy? The awesome B Temple submitted a question to me. He wants to know what I think is better, the SKS or the VZ52. Now, holy crap, is that a question? I mean, there's a lot that goes into figuring out which is better. They are very comparable rifles. They are contemporaries. They're both Cold War era, intermediate cartridge firing, stripper clip fed rifles with 10-round magazines. The SKS has a non-detachable blind magazine and 10-round stripper clips, whereas the VZ52 has a detachable box magazine and 5-round stripper clips, so you have to use 2 to reload it. Now, I've tried reloading the VZ52 with stripper clips, and getting that second one in is very difficult under the spring tension of the magazine. It's far easier to load 10 rounds into an SKS. The VZ52 does have the bonus of being able to carry extra mags on you and change those. However, the magazine itself is so short that it's actually hard to get enough leverage on it to pop it out quickly. I think if they would have made that a 15-round magazine or even a 20-round magazine, you would have been able to change it a lot quicker because you would have more purchase on the magazine itself. The sights on the two rifles are pretty much identical. They're both a post in the front and a U-notch tangent in the rear. They're both marked 100 to 1,000 meters. They weigh almost the same. They have identical barrel lengths. The gas system in the VZ52 is like elf magic, though. That rifle is so smooth shooting. The SKS is a little bit chunky in its recoil. I mean, you have a lot of reciprocating mass with its bolt and everything. You don't really feel that so much in the VZ52, so I think it's the smoother shooter. In general, they have better triggers, I think, and just the workmanship that goes into them, it seems like a more high-quality rifle. But really, I mean, these two rifles filled the same thing. Like, the Czechs developed the VZ52 looking at the SKS. That was basically their version of the SKS, even though it operates completely different. And I mean, they're super comparable. Now, if I had to pick one to go into battle with, it would probably be the VZ52, but I would want a loadout with substantial extra magazines, so I could just change the magazine instead of relying on stripper clip loading. But that's just off the top of my head. I haven't tested any of this, and I think that's actually a great idea for a future video. So if you think that would be something that you would want to see, let me know down in the comments once this video posts, and I'll think about doing a VZ52 versus SKS, like head-to-head, and we'll really try to figure out which one is the better combat rifle. But for now, I'm going to say I prefer the VZ52, but it's really close. Holy crap, I'm getting some more super chats. CT sent me 21 Canadian dollars. He wants to know wet nap or grape jelly. Grape jelly is definitely better than the wet nap. I don't suggest anyone eat the wet nap. That was not a good idea on my part. I felt very sick because of it. Well, it might have been because I did the Gundog challenge too, and that also just makes you feel sick. But yeah, don't eat wet naps. Eat grape jelly unless you're CT. Then you can skip the grape jelly. And Rare Old Meal Times actually sent me a super chat as well, although he didn't ask anything. Dude, you don't have to do that. I super appreciate it. Like, anything, any money that I generate from my channel, whether it be from ad revenue or super chats and streams or whatever is literally going right back into the channel. I'm not going to pocket any of that. I have my finances and the channel completely separate at this point, so even though I pay out of pocket into it, we do operate separately, so anything that is I generate from this just goes right back into the channel. And so any of this money that I'm getting, I'll be buying rations or ammo or whatever with it in the future. And I really appreciate that from y'all. But you seriously, you don't have to do it, but I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. MRE Goodall asked, am I a veteran? That's actually a question that I got asked a couple times. And the answer to that is no. Now, I was in JROTC in high school, which is sort of like a cadets program. And I really thought that the military was going to be my path. But when I was in high school, I also had a part-time job at my family's insurance business. I started working there. I had to get a work permit. I think I was 14 or 15 when I first started working there. And I worked there off and on all the way through high school. And once high school was over, I still had my position and just went on full time. And I've been there ever since. So the insurance business looks like where I'm going to be heading in my course of life. And I unfortunately did not join the military. However, everyone who has, all the past service members, current service members, like, you have all my respect. And I really appreciate everyone's service, not just in the U.S., worldwide. It's such a sacrifice, and for any young guys thinking about doing it, like, I regret not doing it. I think that if you think that's for you, you should probably go ahead and do it, only if it is, 1-2 year term or whatever. I think it's really good for someone's life development, and just being able to serve your country and your people in that way is really the highest honor, and I really appreciate all those guys out there. Thank you so much. If you are a veteran, well, we have one page of questions down. I think this will interface with the chat a little bit. So what have you guys been talking about? There does need to be more Tracys and Leahs in the world. I mean, if there was more Tracy Phillips in this world, it would be a better place for sure. He is a fantastic dude. Speaking of Mr. Tracy Phillips, by the way, I am drinking from the cup he sent me. Check that out. It's a Readiness Reviews cup. Only one in the world that I know of anyway. He also provided my Readiness Reviews plaque that I've been putting in the thumbnails of some of my videos. I was absolutely blown away when I got that in the mail from Tracy. I was not expecting it, and that is such a unique and awesome custom-made item specifically for me. I mean, that's huge. Yeah, he's the nicest gentleman for sure. So generous. So we do have Aletha in the chat, and Aletha submitted an awesome question to me. I had to make sure I got to hers. She wants to know what got me started into rations, and she also asked a bonus question. What is your all-time favorite video game? Now, I love that question. The reason I did this as an AMA is I wanted people to ask me weird stuff like that, right? I mean, I'm always talking about rations and guns. I have more aspects to my life than just those things, and I like to share those things. So we'll go over what got me started into rations first off. It just kind of happened, man. I mean, I grew up as a milsurp kid, right? My dad would always take me to the gun shows. I was surrounded by military surplus from a young age. I mean, he wasn't really into buying those things, but he always exposed me to them, right? So we would go to air shows, gun shows. We were into shooting from a very young age. I mean, I shot my first rifle probably around the same time that I could stand up and hold a rifle. I mean, I've been into guns my entire life, and I really appreciate my dad for exposing those things to me, because otherwise, I might be one of those people that don't know the joy of shooting guns. I mean, it's really a fantastic hobby. is so much fun. Of course, can be dangerous. You have to be safe. You have to know firearm safety, which was instilled to me at a very young age. And luckily, I've never had any big mishaps throughout my life, and I hope to keep it that way. Ration specifically started for me before I was 10 years old. I don't know the exact date, but me and my dad went to one gun show, and they had a dude set up that was selling MREs for $3 an MRE. And I had just watched an episode of Mail Call, which used to come on the History Channel with Arlie Ermy. And Arlie Ermy did that episode, and one of the segments was MREs. And when I saw those MREs, I was completely blown away. I was like, holy crap. I was like, these are literally right in front of me. I can try one of these too. And I just watched a TV show on it. And so I got my dad to buy me 3 or 4 of them. And we went home. I don't remember what the first one I ate was, because I did eat through all 4 of those within a weekend. I was just completely entranced and thought it was so cool. A couple of them had heaters, a couple of them FRHs, a couple of them did not have FRHs, so we had to boil some of the mains, and I used FRHs on some of them. But just the whole idea of everything being contained and ready to eat, and it's the same thing the soldiers are eating, all that was just falling in line with everything I was into at the time. And for me, what really did it is when I had chicken tetrazzini. That chicken tetrazzini had to be a 99 or a 2000, so I was 9 or 10 years old probably. I remember that one specifically because it absolutely blew my mind on how much I liked it. I don't know if you guys have ever had that main before. It's not around anymore. It got discontinued in the early 2000s. I don't remember the exact year, but it was prior to 2004, I'm pretty sure. I think it was 2003, 2002, something like that, when that menu got discontinued. But I loved it. I loved everything about it. It was creamy and delicious, and I was just like, how is this even coming from this package they're supposed to be feeding to the soldiers? You expect something terrible, but this was absolutely awesome. And as time went on, you get into other things. Got heavily into video games and stuff like that, and I kind of fell out of rations being an interest. To that point, I'd only really had MREs. I never really thought twice about getting MCIs, which I could have at the time for extremely cheap. They used to be about $1 or $2 at gun shows. They were extremely inexpensive. But it was so old at that point that I didn't even think it was a possibility to eat it. So I ate some MREs here and there, and I thought that was really cool. But I fell out of it up until about 2 years ago at this point. I was on YouTube just watching videos or whatever, and I stumbled across Steve, just like many other people have before. Steve 1989 MRE Info. And he was looking at a military ration and reviewing it, and I was like, holy crap, this is a thing? I was like, there's people other than me that are interested in this kind of thing? I had no idea. And I literally became addicted to Steve's videos. I watched every single video that Steve put out until I had watched them all. And then after I completed all of Steve's videos, I still wasn't done yet. I had to go on to whatever's next. I had to see everybody's ration videos, right? So I watched every single Gundog video, every single Kiwi Dude video, every single Old Smoky video, every single G Schultz video. And within watching the Old Smoky videos, I ran into his recordings of his live streams, which had already been going on for a little while at that point. Hey, Dennis, I think you said you're leaving, buddy. Thanks very much. We'll catch you later. I need to get caught up on your videos, by the way. I think I'm about 3 behind. I just haven't had time to watch anything recently. But back to the question. So, yeah, I was... where was I? I was watching Old Smoky's recordings of his live stream, and then one Saturday, he was actually live. And then I watched it live, and there's a chat full of people, and I was like, holy crap, all these people are into rations. I might actually post one of my videos, because I had already filmed videos. After watching Steve's videos, I knew I had to try a Russian ration, right? So I picked up one of the Russian White Stars. It took about 2 months to get to me, and I only thought I'll probably only have one of these in my entire life, right? So I'm going to document it. So I set up the camera the same way I do my videos now, periscopic view, and I reviewed that ration for me, by myself. The video was an hour and a half long. I did the whole thing. I ate the whole ration in a 24-hour period, just like I do with my reviews now. And I was just going to have that for future reference for myself if I ever wanted to relive the experience of having that Russian ration. And from that, I went on to a couple other ones, and I filmed those. And I was just like, well, there's all these people with ration videos. I can post one of my own. So I started posting videos, and I got subscribers like day one. I think Smitty subscribed day one. Viper GTS subscribed day one. Animal Free MRE was like a day one subscriber. Within the first week, Tracy Phillips had subscribed to me, CT had subscribed to me, and the channel just kind of grew and grew. It was a slow grow. It took me about 3 months to reach 100 subscribers, something like that, and then it kind of just went on until I hit that 1 year point. And after the 1 year point hit, man, it's kind of exploded. But it's not really from the ration videos as much as it is the gun videos. Those really seem to draw the views in, which I equally enjoy doing both. I mean, the rations are so freaking cool, I'm not going to stop doing those just because the gun videos get more views. I'm not in it for the views anyway. Like I said, I made my first video for me. It just so happened that when I started posting them, other people started watching them, so I just kept on doing it. How long have we been going on for? I have lost track of time. It looks like we're at like 7:30, so it's only been about 30 minutes. Yeah, Dubsy, I like doing the gun videos. I mean, they're super fun too. They definitely take a lot more work than a ration video. I really have to do a lot of research to make sure I'm right. You can't just like spout out stuff and it not be true because people will call you out on guns especially. And it's an expensive thing to do. I mean, these unboxing videos that I'm doing, that's just because I've really been in the process of growing my firearms collection over the past couple of years. So I've just been like buying up everything. At some point, that's going to stop. And I'm still going to need content if I want to keep making videos. So what I'll do at that point is a more review-based video where I'm going through the specific history and shooting and stuff like that of the rifles I already have in my collection, as well as friends and stuff, until I exhaust all that, and then I don't know what's going to happen after that. But the channel will continue as long as I can keep it going, because I literally enjoy, like, you know, all this. It's so much fun. I love it. All right, I got another question here. This one is from Dubc. If you haven't seen Dubc's channel, which if you're watching this video, you most likely have, but I have him linked in the description of this video as well. Check his channel out. He does awesome ration reviews, and he does some really cool outdoor camping type stuff and reviews all kinds of things. All the kind of stuff I'm into, but haven't really set aside time to make those part of my channel yet, but I might in the future, who knows. Dubc wants to know, what is my absolute favorite cheat meal? So Dubc is on a keto diet, and I have done keto diets myself in the past. I actually managed to lose about 60 pounds a few years ago, and I'm currently on a keto diet right now because I put on a lot of weight during the lockdown from the pandemic, and I've been trying to lose that, which at this point I've lost a good bit of it, so I'm doing fairly well. But being on keto, you can't have carbohydrates, right? So I kind of have my keto set up to where I have a cheat day. I can have one every week, but sometimes I only have one every 2 weeks. And at the moment, my cheat days or cheat meals have only consisted of rations because I still need to do reviews, right? So I'm keto all the time unless I'm reviewing a ration, and that is my cheat meal. Now, if I could pick a cheat meal, like what I've been craving, is pizza. I want to go to like an actual pizza place and eat like good pizza. But I just haven't had the opportunity to recently. And then, other than that, I've really been craving Japanese food. I love Japanese food. I love fried rice, and I want to go to a Japanese place and eat hibachi, especially. I really love that stuff. But at the moment, those are my two cheat meals that I would ideally have: pizza and or hibachi. But at the moment, all my cheat meals are rations. Oh, I forgot to answer the other part of Lethia's question. My favorite video game, which I definitely wanted to answer. My all-time favorite video game is actually World of Warcraft, oddly enough. I have devoted huge amounts of my life to that game specifically. I played it all throughout high school, and I'm actually playing World of Warcraft Classic at the moment, at a fairly high level. I mean, I'm in one of the best guilds, which is a group of people that play together in the world, and definitely one of the best guilds in North America. And I probably play that game a little more than I should, but I do really enjoy it, and that's my all-time favorite game, World of Warcraft. However, I have lots of other games that I've liked over the years. I just don't have time to play anything else at the moment. Dub C is a Mythic Raider. Now, I jumped off retail long ago. I haven't played retail World of Warcraft since 2010 probably, but I played on private servers a lot. It's really the original like vanilla experience in World of Warcraft that I really like, and so I played on a lot of private servers, and that's why I'm playing Classic now because that's like my favorite, you know, sub part of World of Warcraft is the old stuff. We have a couple WoW players in the chat. Well, it's cool. I mean, uh, my life would probably be a little different if I didn't start playing WoW in high school. I think that really messed with my social life and social development. But I guess it worked out okay. I'm doing all right for myself now. My boy Smitty, also linked in the description, asked, "What's your favorite surplus firearm and why is it the Martini Henry?" Well, my favorite surplus firearm is whatever I'm looking to add to my collection next. And that's why it's the Martini Henry. No, I'm just kidding. The Martini Henry is not my favorite surplus firearm, but I really want a Martini Henry. And so I've really been looking at them. And whenever I find a gun that I want to add to my collection, that's really when I dive into the research and start learning about it and start watching auctions and figuring out what the market value is and all that kind of stuff. And so whatever I'm looking to buy at that moment, that's usually my favorite surplus firearm. All time favorite, I don't know. I can't choose. There's just too many. I like them all. I can't pick just one. Brian Kranz asked, "What is your favorite original Nintendo game?" I really like that question too. So I'm not really an NES person. I was born in 1990, and by the time I was old enough to hold a controller, the SNES, the Super Nintendo, was really the hot thing. Although we did have a NES also, so I played some old school Nintendo. My all-time favorite game is hands down Duck Hunter, of course. I mean, that game is freaking awesome. The clicking of the little pistol that they give you is like the coolest. And that stupid dog always pops up and makes that dumb face at you. Duck Hunter was amazing. I also really liked Metroid. That was a lot of fun. The Zelda that was on there was really good. But most of my really old school gaming is going to be on the Super Nintendo. And I played all sorts of Super Nintendo games, all the Marios. Um, Super Mario World, of course, is like one of my all-time favorites. X-Men, not X-Men, excuse me, Mega Man X, X2 and X3 are great games. Never got into Final Fantasy, but a lot of people like those. But yeah, so I like old school games. I'm actually looking for a small CRT TV so I can hook up my old systems now. Because if you go and you plug a NES or SNES into like a current day flat screen TV, the latency is so bad that you can't even hardly play. So like if you go to like jump with your controller, there's like a lag time between it actually jumping on screen, and you can't play things good like platformers like Mario. So I want a specific TV just for old school gaming that I can set up and play whenever I want to, because I still have all my old systems. Yeah, Duck Hunt only works on those old CRTs also, so if I ever want to play that game again, I have to have one. Blind Sniper is in the chat. What's up, dude? I answered your question earlier, so I guess you'll have to check the replay if you want to see that answer. Guys, if you haven't looked at Blind Sniper's channel yet, I have him linked down in the description. You can check it out. He has some Ration reviews, so if you're into that, you can look at those. If you're a gun guy, he also has a lot of gun videos up. And at some point in the future, me and him are going to be looking to do a couple collaborations together. I'm really looking forward to that. Looks like we are about 43 minutes into the video. So we have a little bit of time left. I still have a lot of questions. I'm only on the second page. Like I said, I probably wouldn't get through all these. Of course, if you asked a question, you're entered in the giveaway that we're going to do here in a few minutes. Let me scan through these right quick and see if there's any that I just want to rapid fire, because I've spent a little bit too much time on some of these questions. Butternut Best Boy stated, I have a Russian Capture K98 and a Mosin. What should be my next Milsurp purchase? He has a budget of $500. Well, Butternut Best Boy, there's a lot of guns you can get for $500 as far as Milsurps go. You have a Russian Capture K98 and a Mosin again. So I'm guessing that your collecting interests are one of two things. Either you like Russian guns or you like World War II guns. So if you're just into World War II guns, for a $500 budget, I would be looking to add a number 4 Lee Enfield to your collection. You can actually get them for less than $500. I mean, for $400, you can get a pretty good number 4. That would be a really good one to add. You could also look into getting a more different Mosin if you're specifically into Russian firearms. The M44 carbine can be got for about $450 at the moment, so that's within your budget, and that'll shoot the same round as your other Mosin. However, it is a different gun and is a carbine, nice and short. If you are also into Russian guns, you could look really old school and get a Berdan 2 rifle from Russia. Royal Target Imports had some of those recently for about $500, so dead on the money for what your budget is. Although that's going to be a much more difficult rifle to shoot, but a cool piece of history. If you're not into World War II or you don't really care about it being Russian, a Chinese SKS is a good one for $500 or less. And if you want to go a little bit above your budget, I would definitely recommend looking at the CMP and trying to get your hands on an M1 Garand. At the moment, they have them for as low as $650, so save up a little bit of extra and spend on it and get yourself an M1 Garand for your collection. Everybody that can get one should get one, in my opinion. Yeah, Blind Sniper has a Car 98 that was sporterized. He got it for $180. I would be looking to unsporterize it if I got it, because for that price, I think you can do it. Car 98 stocks are not really all that expensive in compared to some other Milsurp stocks like Arasakas especially. But yeah, I mean, for $180, I would have bought it too, even though it is sporterized. I mean, it's still a Car 98. That's awesome. No, sir, I did not answer your question, but I do have it written down, so I will skip to it right quick, and we will go ahead and get to yours, I think. I remember putting you on the list. Just ask it again. Ask your question again, and I will go ahead and answer it for you. JK Noob wants to know, do I smoke the ganja? I thought that was a pretty funny question. No, I do not. But I completely agree with your right to do so if you so choose. If you're an adult, you're 21 years or older, you should be able to do whatever you want to with your body as long as it doesn't infringe on other people. So as long as it's not hurting anyone else, I don't care what it is, you should be able to do it, and that's the way I feel about that. I do not smoke the ganja, but thumbs up to you if you do. Good for you. Yes, you wanted to know what the weirdest, most obscure meal syrup that I've ever come across. So, uh, what sticks out in my head the most is I saw one. I don't even know what they're called technically, but I've seen one on Forgotten Weapons before. It's an amalgamation of a Mauser and an Enfield, and it's basically an Enfield in the back and a Mauser in the front. They were reworked in the Middle East, I think. I think Turkey did them, but I could be wrong about that. It was either a Eastern European, like Far Eastern European or Middle Eastern country that did the rework on those, and they converted a bunch of Enfields to a Mauser-like configuration. So they have a Mauser end cap as opposed to the end cap being like the SMLE back here. And yeah, I've saw one of those, and the guy wanted a lot of money for it, and I didn't want to pay it, but I got to hold it, and I thought it was a really awesome rifle. I don't know what a 3040 Krag is going for. The last ones I saw for sale online, I kicked myself for not buying. There was one up on Access Arms for like $850, and I should have bought it because the last ones that I saw at a gun show were like $1,200. And I definitely want a Krag. That's one of the few centerfire bolt action like US rifles that I don't have in my collection currently is a Krag. Wow, we have 30 people watching. I can't believe that. Thanks so much, guys. If you are liking the video and you haven't done so already, go ahead and hit the thumbs up because, I mean, if anything, that just helps more people see it. I really appreciate that if you did. And if you don't like the video, you can thumbs down it because I like that feedback also. Salty Croc, I don't know if he's still in the chat, but he was earlier, wants to know, zombie apocalypse, what gun do I grab? So right away you go to, well, what's the best gun that I have? It's either going to be an AK or an AR-15, right? I have both. I think I go with the AR-15 just because you can carry more ammo and it's lighter. In general, it's a better weapon system, I think, than the AK. They're equally reliable, in my opinion, equally durable, and it's lighter weight, and I think a better combat weapon. Now, if it's an AK-74, you might have a different story there, but AK-47 versus AR-15, I'm going with the AR-15 for zombie apocalypse just because I want to carry as many rounds as I can, and I think you can get the most rounds for your weight with that. You might also look at like something like a P90, but I don't have one. And if you had a lot of that FN57 ammo, you could carry a ton of that for the weight. And that would be a good zombie gun as well. Amanda Hamby wants to know, am I into vintage knives? She's building a knife collection and was looking for tips for restoration. So, yeah, I'm not, I'm into bayonets, right? So just like these over here, if it's any rifle that I have, ideally I have the sling and the bayonet for it also. And so I'm always trying to collect bayonets, and they can be quite expensive, especially nowadays. But I really like bayonets, and I guess those qualify as vintage knives. As far as restoration goes, I mean, you can kind of go through my firearms restoration videos, and it kind of works the same way. I mean, you need to know how it was originally supposed to be finished. Sometimes they'll be blued, in which case you can go through a boiling and carding process just like you would with a firearm to restore it. If it was supposed to be polished, I mean, you can repolish them. You just want to make sure that you never sharpen an old bayonet because that will decrease its value. Keep them oiled. You know, anytime you touch them, oil them. but you clean them just like you do a gun. I mean, the same kind of solvents you use to dissolve cosmoline and stuff like that can be used on bayonets. Wooden grips, rub them down with boiled linseed oil. It's all the same sort of thing. Yeah, so I do like vintage knives, bayonets specifically. Now, if you're talking about consumer knives like pocket knives and stuff like that, I don't really have that much knowledge on those, although I do think they're super cool. It's not something that I am into collecting myself. Nukfu asked a related question. He asked, how large is my knife collection and which one do I like the most? So, I've always been into collecting. I kind of have that compulsion that a lot of people do. And knives were my go-to before I was old enough to buy firearms. So I do have a pretty extensive knife collection, although nothing is of that much value. I have swords, katanas, claymores, stuff like that. I bought up all the cheap, like, made in Pakistan junk when I was a kid. Those are the things at the gun shows that I was spending my money on when I wish I would have been spending my money on stuff like this that were really cheap at the time. However, I do still have all that stuff, so I have a pretty extensive knife and sword collection, but none of it is really worth anything necessarily, just some cool little pieces. My favorite knife is this one right here. That is my Spyderco Tenacious. It was $30 like 12 years ago and has been my EDC knife almost ever since. I keep a nice edge on it, and that has served me very well for $30. I love this knife, and I've had it on me or around me so much over the years, it's like part of me, and that's why it's my favorite. Other than that, I have a knife that my mother gave me. It's about that long. It's a tiny little knife. It's Imperial Ireland. I don't have it in front of me to show you, but she gave me that knife when I was 4 years old. It was my very first pocket knife. Over the years, I haven't carried it that much just because I've always been afraid of losing it. But I really love that knife, and since it was a gift from my mother at a very young age, that one means a lot to me. My girlfriend also gave me a knife a couple years ago, and for the same reason, I don't carry that one, just because I don't want to lose it. If I lose this one, it sucks, but it is replaceable. The ones that were gifts, I don't carry those because there's no way you can replace that gift. See if I have any other quick ones here that I can answer real fast. All right, Dennis asks, Boondocking with Dennis asked, of all your military memorabilia, what single piece holds the most sentimental value for you? So most of the pieces that I have, I bought myself. And like I said, things that I buy myself don't really gain sentimental value the same way a gift does. The one that stands out to me that means the most to me personally is a finished capture Westinghouse M91 Mosin Nagant that was given to me by my best friend Cheese Toast, who was in the chat earlier. He gave it to me because I let him live with me free of charge for a while, which was just fun because we were just hanging out. I mean, having him as my roommate was fantastic as it was. He didn't have to do that. But he gave me that rifle, and that rifle means more to me than anything just because it's a super cool rifle in the first place, and it was given to me by a very, very good friend. We're almost at the 1 hour mark, and I kind of wanted to leave this stream here at about an hour. I might have a couple more quick ones I can answer. Yeah, I wanted to get to this one. Renzo Ramirez, or in case you're Portuguese, it's Renzo Ramirez. I'm not quite sure. He says, Ian from Forgotten Weapons is a French rifle fanboy. What nations and or era of rifles are you a fanboy of? So nation-wise, I love my British firearms. I, of course, have a number 4 here. I have a number 1 back over there. I have another number 1 that's not being displayed right now. I love British firearms. I think they look really cool. I think they are really good guns. And they just have had so many little developmental increases. They're just really interesting in my opinion. For era, I like anything World War II and World War I, so really your World War rifles. I'm actually building independent collections of each, which is difficult and expensive, but I'm working on it. I'm trying to get every battle rifle that was used by one of the main participants in World War II and World War I, and both those collections are in the process. And I really love Mausers, so I have a pretty extensive Mauser collection at this point, and I'm always looking to add other ones. Ideally, in a perfect world, I would like to have one Mauser from every country that fielded a Mauser at some point in the past, which is a lot of them. Imberetto wants to know what my oldest firearm is. I just recently got my oldest firearm from a gun show. I've only had it for maybe a month or two now. It is a Vetterli 71 87 15. Of course, it's an Italian rifle. It's been through 2 major conversions, changing it from a single shot breech loader to a magazine fed black powder rifle to a magazine fed smokeless powder rifle that shoots the 6.5 Carcano, that you should not shoot 6.5 Carcano in it because you'll blow it up. My particular example is from 1873. I don't know if I'll ever shoot it just because they are not safe to shoot, but it is super long and tall and old as crap and super awesome and cool. Tracy Phillips wants to know what my favorite rifle from the early 1900s is. From the early 1900s, I'm thinking World War I era. My absolute favorite rifle is the U.S. M1917 Enfield. The 1917 Enfield, in my opinion, is the finest military bolt action ever fielded, besides maybe the K31, but it was never used in combat, really. So the M1917 gets a big thumbs up for me. They feel awesome. It has all that cool allure that an Enfield does with a Mauser action, so the action is super durable, and they have the best sights of any rifle that participated in World War I when everyone else was using tangent sights or things of that nature. It was using awesome aperture sights. So the M1917, that's my favorite rifle from the early 1900s. Matthew's asking right now, what ration have I had but not want to? What ration have I not tried that I want to try? I'd really like to try like one of those Slovenian rations. I'd love to try a German ration. It's going to be mainly foreign stuff because those are still good to eat. I really like the old stuff, but if I was going to get like a Ration Combat Individual or something like that, it probably wouldn't be safe to eat most of the components anyway. So I would much rather get something that's current but foreign and obscure. And yeah, that would be really cool to try out. Hey there, Kaylin. Nice that you can make it to the chat. Thank you so much for the thanks. I thought I answered your question. I might not have made it to it yet. I have a lot of questions on this thing. You can ask again if you'd like to. I don't know where it's at on my paper currently. Winging it with Iris Carlene. I think we're going to finish up with hers and maybe one or two from the chat. She wanted to know why I included the wet wipe in my Gundog challenge video. So if you haven't seen that video, I suggest checking it out. I think it's one of the better videos that I've made. I was challenged to do the Gundog challenge, which is where you eat an entire MRE mixed all up into one bowl. You throw everything into it, mix it up, and just eat it all as one big mash. And I'm the kind of person that pushes the envelope. Like, I wanted to be different, and was that a good idea? Probably not, but I mean, it didn't hurt me. I turned out all right. I ripped the moist towelette up in there and just ate the whole thing together. I felt very sick afterwards for that full day, but I was fine the next day. And yeah, so I did it. Was it a good idea? Probably not, but I don't think anyone else has done it since, although I've always said that someone else will do it since I did it. Really, if you want to one-up me, I suggest you eat the toilet paper roll. I think that's probably the way to go next, because I don't think the toilet paper is going to hurt you, but it's not going to be fun getting that down either. All right, let's go ahead and get this drawing done. I have drawn this out long enough. It's been about an hour. We still have 29 people in the chat. That is crazy. I hope you guys are liking it so far. This is not a natural thing for me. Like, I don't do well in front of the camera. I'm not a particularly good speaker. I'm sure you've noticed, I have pauses and stuff. That's why I edit my videos so much, because I'm not the best at talking. But the editing allows me to really chop it up and make it more coherent. I'm doing my best, though, and I can't believe we have 30 people watching me right now. I mean, that's freaking ridiculous. We had 61 entries in the contest. I have those 61 names cut up in a very small little confetti type piece of paper here. And yeah, so I think what I'm going to do is I have this rather cool artillery shell here. I wish I could give you more information on this particular shell, but I actually don't know exactly what it is. I think it might be a Navy shell, but I don't know for sure. It definitely has an electronic primer, though, because it says it right on the side. I think this was like a $15 gun show pickup. I mean, whenever I can run across something cool like this and buy it, I'm going to add it to my meal syrup stuff. And I'm going to take all of these names on these tiny little bits of paper and drop them down in the shell, so there's no way I can look at it. And I'm going to give this a good shaking up. And I will attempt to grab one of them. My hand doesn't fit all the way down in here, but I can finagle it up. Make sure I get just one. And I think I have just one piece of paper here. We're going to switch the view right quick before I pull this out so we can show you who it is. Alright, this is my webcam for my laptop that I'm streaming off of. The winner of the contest is Jason B. Jason B, you have won. Send me an email, readinessreviews with no space @gmail.com with your info, and I will be getting your prize out to you. As far as the prizes goes, I know I haven't talked about that yet. I kind of forgot to go over that. I tried to get a sponsorship I was going to give out something myself anyway, but I thought maybe I could talk one of these companies into giving my fans something extra. So I tried to contact all MREs to see if they wanted to sponsor a ration, so I could give the winner something, and they could also get something else from all MREs. But they never got back to me. So at this point, it's just going to be whatever I could provide. So I have that stuff right here. First thing is going to be a MRE Nation complete meal. This one is menu 11 lentil stew with ham. You'll be getting that. You will be getting a humanitarian daily ration. I think this is from 2010. That's menu number 5. I'll be sending that your way. These are pretty cool, and I actually haven't had one yet, although CT just did a review on a case of these, and there's actually some pretty good stuff in them. This is a Chef 5-minute meals. This one is vegetable lasagna. And I have a 4th ration for you here. This one is a standard USMRE 2018 production on this one, I believe, so it's nice and fresh for you. Menu number 2, beef shredded in barbecue sauce. Jason B, those will all be yours. Send me an email, and I will get those out to you. Congratulations on winning the giveaway. Dub C, $10 super chat. Congrats to the winner. Dub C, you didn't have to do that, man. Thank you so very much for the super chat. I really appreciate it, buddy. I know I said it earlier in the video, but if you haven't checked out Dub C's channel, give it a look. I mean, he's one of the best guys out there doing reviews at the moment. Some really cool stuff he's looked at, and he has a ration that I don't know if he wants people to know about yet, but so I'm not going to spill the beans, but it's similar to one that I have here in front of me. I figured that we would do a little unboxing video right now on the stream, so you guys can see this cool acquisition that I have. Like I said, Dub C has something comparable. Let's go ahead and open this up, and we will see what is inside. Looks like they packed it very well. It has packing paper in there. And there it is. Some people are going to know what this is right away. Holy crap, look at this thing. That is an RCIR. It is a French combat ration from 1992. I picked this up on eBay recently from a seller, and I cannot be happier I got this for my collection. I mean, holy crap. You hardly ever see an RCIR that is this old. I mean, I've only seen maybe one other before on eBay, and I picked this one up. The box itself is in pretty rough shape. It's kind of like caved in looking. I don't really see any mold or anything. I'm sure these are probably canned components. I mean, I've never seen the inside of an old RCIR, so I don't even know how they're set up exactly. But the case itself, the box, looks a lot like a current one. So I'm expecting the contents to be sort of similar. And hopefully nothing is exploded in there. We'll definitely be doing a standalone video on this ration at some point in the future. Until then, that's going to be cool to sit on my collection shelf. Yeah, it was pretty beat up, Smitty. I mean, you can tell right here, it's sort of caved in. One thing I was worried about is they didn't show pictures of the bottom of it, really. So I figured it was going to have like a big stain on it where one of the cans busted open. But I don't see anything like that on it. It doesn't seem to have any leakage or anything going on. So the cans might actually still be in decent shape on the inside. I guess we'll just find out when I review it. I'm glad I bought that one, though. All right, so we're over an hour at this point. I still have a lot of questions that I can answer, but I'm not going to drag this on any longer. Y'all have sat through quite enough, I think. Now, if the chat wants to ask me anything right now, I am currently reading. That's right, Dubsy has a clean 1989 RCIR. We could do a dual review. We could compare the contents between an 89 and a 92. That would be very interesting. We'll have to get together on that, Dubsy, if you want to kind of look at those together. It sounds like a good idea to me. So while I'm reading the chat here, does anyone else have anything for me before we shut this thing down? Where I got this chair from? All right, so I got this chair from a house that was foreclosed on that they were trashing everything. I got this and a little matching love seat to go with it. I thought it was pretty cool. It's all like wood construction. The table the laptop's on actually is a part of the matching set, and they were throwing it out, so I picked it all up, and now it's mine. So, what do you guys think about me doing a stream in general? I mean, was it that bad? I've been so stressed out today. You don't even know. I mean, ever since I announced I was doing a stream, like I've been on edge. I'm an anxious person by nature. Like I don't do good in groups. I'm not a natural, public speaker. I'm more of an introverted type person. I like making videos. I don't mind talking to a camera because it's more like me talking to myself. And I like interaction with people, but direct interfaces I feel weird about. So I was really afraid to do this. I hope I didn't do too bad. It's actually been pretty fun. So I mean, we might make streams a normal thing for me. I'm not going to be an every week streamer, that's for sure. Maybe quarterly at the most, maybe monthly. I mean, if it's something that you guys want to see from me, is have me do a stream every now and then, it's something I'd be willing to do. It's been a interesting experience for this first go around. Well, Tracy says it was excellent. Thanks, brother. I really appreciate that. The missus liked it. JW liked it. I really appreciate that, JW. Man, some of y'all have been around from the beginning. I can't believe you're still sticking with me this long. Smitty wants a monthly report. A monthly? I don't know about a monthly stream. Maybe quarterly. Maybe quarterly. Maybe, I don't know. We'll have to see. We'll have to see. If CT actually strained his would definitely be better than mine. By the way, if you want to hear more of me talking a bunch of gibberish, you can go on CT's channel from around October of last year, I think it was. He has a video where I was in the hot seat of his truck, and we ate pizza and had a little discussion, and that's on his channel if you want to look at that. That was my first appearance on screen, I think. Cheese Toast still in the chat. Thanks for watching, brother. Yeah, so me and Cheese Toast are definitely wanting to do more stuff. He actually had COVID, so for like a whole month or something, we couldn't even be around each other. But he got over it just fine. Barely showed any symptoms, but I didn't want a chance getting sick either. At this point, he's doing better, but the two of us live like 45 minutes away from each other, so we have to make a little trip if we're ever going to do anything together. Over the past weekend, we did some shooting together, which will be distributed throughout some videos coming in the future. But yeah, we like doing the dual reviews together. They're a lot of fun. I mean, for me, it's more fun having one other person with me. I've done a couple videos with my girlfriend Maggie, and those are really fun for me. But having someone to bounce ideas and banter back and forth with is it's a good experience. And I do like doing it, and me and Cheese Toast definitely plan to do more in the future. Yeah, I had a lot of fun hanging out with CT for that video. I mean, it was a little bit sketch. Like, I'd only been, talking to him from comments and stuff for a couple months, and he's like, hey, dude, I'm a truck driver. I'm going to be in your area. Like, you want to stop and hang out? And I was like, do I really want to, go hang out with this dude in this, random truck stop? I mean, that sounds super sketch, right? I mean, this dude might be, there's no telling. And going up to the truck stop, I felt really weird. It's like, I've never even been to a truck stop before like that. And meeting some, I don't know, there's things go on at truck stops, and I don't really want to get into that. But it turned out really good, and CT is a great guy. And he's really helped out the channel a lot. He's provided multiple rations for me for review, and I still have some in the pipeline coming up. And he's literally one of the most generous dudes in the whole community. And I'm glad to see he's finally getting into foreign rations. They are great, and I'm glad he's able to enjoy those now. I think he's going to have a whole new world open to him as he starts buying these really expensive ones he's been looking at. Yeah, Rare Old Mill Times just had a video with him as well. Yeah, it turned out all good, though. I think everyone that's been in the hot seat has probably said the same thing. It's a little bit weird, but, after you're talking to him, it's all good. CT's a great guy. All right, guys, I think I have drugged this on long enough. Thanks again to everyone who participated in the chat and submitted questions. Congrats to the winner. And the guys that gave me super chats for this, I mean, my mind is absolutely blown. I can't believe anyone would want to give me their money. I truly appreciate that from the bottom of my heart. I'm going to put it right back into the channel, buying cool rations for you guys to see. Buying ammo so I can put more shooting in my gun videos if you like those. I mean, I'm gonna put the money into the channel. I think that's the most important thing. I'm not doing YouTube for the money. I was just doing it to be doing it, and it turned into an awesome community, and I plan on keeping on going. So thanks, guys. I will catch you guys in the next video. We'll see you then. Peace.